Hey everybody, it's Brian with 402 Overland. In today's video, I'm going to be making some slight changes to the interior of the Tundra. I'm going to be relocating a couple of switches, but to be able to do that, you have to take a good portion of the dash apart. It's fairly straightforward and simple, but I'll walk you through that process with me. The purpose of today's project is to relocate a couple of switches. This one here is the button that turns off your side curtain airbag if you're off-roading. So then if you have kind of a steep angle to the side, then it's not going to set off your airbags. This switch is going to stay, but I'm planning on adding some fog lights and a couple other driving lights on the front of the truck. I'm going to use factory style switches, so those are going to go on this side here. So this switch is going to get relocated over to this side here, next to the traction control. And then I'm also going to take the tow haul mode button from here and relocate it over here as well. And I'll probably use them in order of what I would most likely use them. So it'd probably be tow haul, traction control, and side curtain. Now the first two steps that you have to do is take out the cover for this pocket. And you also have to remove the cup holders. Just pull straight up and it'll pop right out. The next step is to remove the lower part that has the cubby hole and the dual 12-volt plugs. You can grab it and pull it by hand, but I'm using these body panel tools just because I'm having a day where my hands just kind of ache a bit too much, and I just don't have the hand strength today to pull them out. But it's pretty straightforward. Just pulls out like that, and you undo those clips. To remove the power ports, this one just pulls straight off the back. This one you roll the lower panel over, and then there's a little tab here that you press and it just pops right off the back. The next step is to remove the upper part of the center console. I've already pulled this loose just because it's hard to do with one hand. I used the body panel tool again, but you slip it in kind of around this clip here and just pry up on it, and then this whole thing will eventually pop loose, and then just pull straight back on it, and then it comes out. Set it to the side. So once the trim around the shifter is exposed, there's a single clip that's one of those that's kind of like a pressure clip slash Phillips head clip. So you loosen up that screw part, and then it'll give you the ability to take that clip all the way out. So then once this is loose, there's a couple of clips that are all the way around the perimeter of it. You just kind of pull up on it and back at the same time. And you'll notice that it is not going to move because of the shifter. So what you need to do is just put your shifter into a lower gear, and then it'll just come right off. I already did this once, but I had a problem with the video, so I reshot it again. This plug here is on the back of the tow haul button, so that's just I already removed that. But it's another one of those, just a simple pressure clip, and I'm really impressed because these Toyota clips are actually very, very simple to remove. I like that a lot. The next step here I find is easiest to do with the steering wheel down in the lowest position. So what you'll do is you grab the bottom edge of the trim here, kind of put your thumb against the knob there, and then just kind of go back and forth top to bottom, pulling on it. You can grab the bezels on here because those are part of the console for the most part. So you can basically wiggle the whole thing loose all the way across. The gauge bezel has a series of clips that go over the top of the whole thing that this wiring harness clips into. So you just have to unhook all those from the clips, and it'll come right out. The switches have a tab like this on the top and the bottom of each. So all you have to do is just kind of push on those, and it'll come right out. The driver's side lower dash does have one bolt down here that kind of holds it together on that side. I think that There might be one tucked behind the kick panel, but I haven't dug that far because I'm not taking it apart that far. But you can actually pull on the top part here, and these top clips will come loose, and it gives you enough room to reach the wiring harnesses on the back side there. You can do the same thing over here too. Yeah, that clip came apart though. So that clip popped out, but I just got to push that back. The bad news is this harness for the side curtain airbag is just not long enough to go to the opposite side of the dash. So I'm going to have to leave it over here, but I will at least try to figure out where to relocate it to. I'll probably move it to the inner panel. And the thing that's cool about this is that even though this truck doesn't have the fog lights, it at least has the harness already pre-wired, and the blank actually has a little retention for it, so it just kind of keeps it there so it's not rattling around inside the dash. So this one took a little bit of effort to get into there because these are actually notched based on the switch that goes in there from the factory. So you can see the one where this was originally has a larger opening here. The one on this side actually has two little openings on this side. But I found that if you take the switch and you push it into the opening and just push on the face of it really hard, it'll just go right in. To relocate the tow haul button from the shifter trim, the harness doesn't have enough length to tuck all the way back through, so what I did is I followed this kind of S channel that is in the edge of the lower console piece, and it tucks in there enough that it doesn't get pinched by either of the trim panels, so it'll just sit in there and it should be fine. Next step before reassembly is bring all the parts into your house and scrub them out with dish soap. If you've got a bunch of stuff from your cups that's built up in the bottom of the cup holder, let it soak in some hot water and dish soap, and it'll break all that up and you can scrub it right out. The other benefit to using dish soap is that like the place that I bought my truck from used way too much Armor All, so everything almost has like a greasy, slimy feel to it still, so this will help to break that up as well. Next thing you want to do is take something to scrub everything that's underneath the parts of the center console you took out, because you get a lot of dirt, food particles and stuff like that stuck in here. You can also use compressed air and a vacuum and stuff like that if you want to. You'll be a little more thorough with it. Putting everything back together is the exact opposite. You can see, like I said, I couldn't relocate the airbag switch. I could probably press the pins out and extend the wires. I may do that at a later date as I start to get lights installed and decide if I need that extra spot. But otherwise, I've got an extra blank here, and then if I do ever decide to move it over here, then I'll put the tow haul mode here and then put the airbag switch there probably. So it's that process there, and then put the extra blank over here, and then everything else just locks back together like it never got taken apart.